Having gone through the decimal coefficients, I figured I would go through how to use some tricks of elimination to deal with fraction coefficients. So I picked one of the ugliest looking problems on 4.2, number 32. Here it is, 1/8 x plus 3/5 y equals 19 halves, and negative 3/10 x minus 7/20 y equals negative 1. And I'm going to need to find some way to clear out those denominators. Just like we cleared out decimals by multiplying by a factor of 10, we're able to clear out the denominators by finding some factor that will get rid of all of the denominators. Now, this bottom equation, that's not too hard. If we multiply everything by 20, then that'll get rid of tenths, 20ths, and negative 1 doesn't have any issues. So I'm going to multiply all out. 20 and 10 are going to cancel out. You'll be left with 2 times negative 3. So I've got negative 6x. And then 20 and 20 are going to cancel out on the y term. So I'm going to be left with minus 7y. And that's going to equal negative 20 because negative 1 times 20 is negative 20. Now, the next one, I'm going to have to be a little more thoughtful. So I need something that's got a factor of 2 and a factor of 5 and a factor of 8. The lowest number that has a factor of 5, 8, and 2 is 40. So I'm going to multiply everything times 40. And when I multiply my 40 times 1/8 x, I'm going to end up with 5x. I'm going to multiply 40 times 3/5 y. I cancel out the 5's in the denominator and in 40, and I'm left with 8 and 3. So 8 times 3 is 24y. Then I've got 40 times 19 halves. The 2 in the denominator cancels out with a 2. That's a factor of 40. I'm left with 20 times 19. So I get 380. Okay, let's copy these over into my workspace down here. Now I have two linear equations that still don't have matching or opposite coefficients, but they don't have fractions to worry about. So I need to find something that will work to clear out one of the variables. So I'm going to eliminate one of the variables. The trick I'm going to use is a trick that is familiar to you with finding common denominators. I need to find the least common multiple of 5 and 6 is going to be 30. So if I multiply the 5 times the 5x equation by 6, I multiply the negative 6x equation by 5, that should do it. That should get me 30x and negative 30x. So let's multiply it all out. I get 30x plus, now 6 times 24 is going to be 6 times 4 is 24, and 6 times 20 is going to be 120, so 144y. And then I'm going to do 6 times 380. I'm going to get a calculator for that. 6 times 380 equals 220. Sorry, 2280. 2280. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and confirm my previous multiplication. 6 times 24 is indeed 144. All right, so I've got that equation handled. Now, let's do the other one. So 5 times negative 6x is negative 30x. 5 times negative 7y is negative 35y. And 5 times negative 20 is negative 100. Now, I've got opposite coefficients, so I'm going to add, because adding opposite makes 0. So the x's will go away, and I'm going to get 109, I believe. I'm going to confirm that. 144 minus 35 is 109. So 109y equals 2180, because I'm adding, and I'm going to divide both sides by 109. Laggy right now. It's catching up. So I'm going to get y on one side. And if I'm not mistaken, 2180 divided by 109 is 20. It is, so y equals 20. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and plug y in to one of the equations, because finding an equal or opposite coefficient for 24 and 7 feels like a lot of work. So I'm going to pick this equation and try and get it to solve for x. I'm copying this over, and because I have the option to use substitution or do elimination again, so I'm going to do this. Replace y with 20 since y equals 20. All right, so that becomes, I'm going to go ahead and clear out, well, let's actually simplify it. Negative 3/10 x, and then 7/20 times 20 is going to just be negative 7 equals negative 1. And then I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So I'm trying to isolate x now. What am I doing? Adding 7, not y. Bad enough when my handwriting makes y's look like 7s. Okay, now I've got negative 3/10 x equals 6. Now I'm going to make that really look like a fraction. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 10. And that's going to be negative 3x, and that's going to be 60. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3, divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3, and x will equal negative 20. My solution is negative 20, comma 20. Because x is negative 20 and y is 20. And I'm done. And that looked really ugly, and it ended up being not so bad at all in the end. Would have been a whole lot worse if we had tried to just leave those denominators in there and tried to find common coefficients or opposite coefficients, leaving those in. So the trick to all of this involves clearing the denominator and then being flexible about your approach. Once you've figured out what y is, you could eliminate or you could substitute. And I chose substitution. And then you have your solution. Keep track of your players. Notice that I am giving myself space to keep track of my players as I go.